You ask a lot of questions.
Oh,
Interested in me that much?
yeah. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful, so magical. So peaceful, so beautiful. Hello, gorgeous. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir David, and today I want to play a game called Jack Frost. Chapter 1, Reunion. It's been a long time, and with that time comes change. Now tell me, what is your name? I am Espoir. It means hope in French. Espoir. It really has been so long. I can't fully believe it. It feels just like yesterday we were going on our next adventure. Making crowns of snowdrops and daisies, racing on the back of evergreen, and braiding each other's hair. Do you remember those times? Do you even remember me? I thought so. No matter. I continue to wait patiently for our reunion. When the snow kisses the leaves and beds the ground of Eustis. I shall see you then. Okay. It was sometime in the late afternoon. The sun outside was setting lower and lower, while the sky grew pinker. I leaned over my kitchen counter, nursing a hot mug of freshly made coffee between my hands. The smell was both bitter and sweet, making my stomach churn with hunger as I brought the ceramic cup to my lips. The burning liquid left a trail of fire in its wake, warming up my entire body as it made its way down the pit of my stomach. Despite my own satisfaction, I could feel the betrayal in my body upon greeting the coffee rather than real food. I really need to go grocery shopping. In all these games, we need to go grocery shopping. And also, Adam! I see you there, Adam. I see you. This is the second game that I've seen an Adam cameo. He's haunting me. And this is just a guess, but are those the same barrettes that Friend has in his hair? Cameos. I love cameos. A chill runs through me, and I take another sip, melting back into a warm and pleasant state. I had the heat up pretty high in my apartment, but it still didn't stop the icy winds from outside sneaking in. I heard it's supposed to snow tonight. I can't help but to be excited. My first snow in... Oh, it's the name of the place. Eustis? Eustis? Eustis. Since I was a kid. My thoughts were interrupted with the entrance of my roommate. Oh. I looked down to see Coin? Brushing up against my leg. He stares up at me with those big yellow eyes of his. He wants cuddles. All right, come here, you old man. I pull the beast onto my lap with ease, where he immediately bunches into a ball and starts to purr, making biscuits on my leg and everything. Once settled comfortably, I begin weaving my hand through his short, soft fur, just as he likes it. It has been nearly 15 years since I'd gotten Coin. Found him hidden behind a trash can outside our apartment in the city, just waiting for something. I guess it was me, because as soon as I approached him, he ran into my arms. Oh. Looks good for an old man. I swear, he hasn't aged a day since I've gotten him. I chugged the rest of my coffee, letting it energize me. I've been up since noon, but all that time was spent in bed staring at my phone and watching videos as I hid from the cold beneath the covers. Not the greatest, or even healthiest way to spend my morning, but I don't do it often. Well, I mean I do, but still. My phone vibrates against the kitchen counter, alerting Coin, who gives me an annoyed look. Sorry, bud. Let's see. Oh, it's B. Yo, Espoir. Hey, what's up? Just procrastinating on homework. What about you? Just waiting until I have to go to work. Also, cuddling with Coin. Coin, my boy, how is he? He's good, still a kitten at heart despite being as old as dirt. I told you he is immortal. and I am his mortal servant. Praise the immortal overlord! Anyway, how is Eustis? Is it weird being back after all these years? Yes and no. I mean, I don't really remember much of this place besides my old house, which is weird knowing somebody else lives there now, lol. But it's nice and quiet here, just what I needed. Aw yeah, I can imagine. Good on you for moving. Thanks a lot. How's college going? Pretty good, since I'm on my 3rd year now. I'm having fun getting drunk with the other queers in my graphic design class, so yeah, college is great, lol. Spoken like B. Even though it's not my cup of tea, I wish I was there with you. I mean, we could have gotten an apartment together, but someone said no. I can't promise that I'll be quiet, but it would be nice. I know, but I wanted to experience my first year of independence on my own. But it doesn't mean I don't miss you. I miss you too. But if you ever change your mind, we could move in together next year. You can live with your favorite NB. True. I like the lone wolf vibe, but I'll think about it. Lol, okay. But on a more serious note, you okay? I think so. Should I be worried? B is just gonna show up at my front door. No, it's just weird being so far away from my home, my parents, you. But I'm not homesick, just kind of lonely. It's oddly nice and bittersweet at the same time, if that makes sense. Well, as you said it, this move is what you needed. I think this will be a great opportunity to figure yourself out and make new connections on your own, without having me to do it for you. JK. Not really, though. Hey, I can make friends on my own. Oh? Are you sure about that? Because last I remember, I'm the one who initiated our friendship in junior high and introduced you to our friend group. Okay, so I'm a little antisocial. A little? As much as I love Coin, he cannot be your only friend there. I mean, my manager and co-worker are friendly enough. Friendly enough doesn't count. Plus, you need to make friends outside of work. Where am I supposed to go and socialize in this small town? Maybe the local nursing home? Thanks, B. Maybe I'll find my new bestie there. Wait, no, I'm your bestie. I know there aren't a lot of people you can connect with out there, but you will find someone. Just don't replace me. I could never. Good. I just don't want you to get too lonely out there, you know? An hour and a half is a long way away from my bestie. I'm fine, B. Just need some more time to settle before I start my adventurous social life. But I will be seeing you in a few weeks, right? On your break? Yeah, I can't wait to stay at my bestie's awesome apartment. And alright, but I am here if you need anything, okay? Thanks, B. Same with you. I gotta get ready for work now. I'll talk to you later. Oh, but fine. Lol, love you. LOL, love you too. The last time I saw B was over the summer of a couple of months before I moved. I was starting to miss them. They were the type of person that gave others energy rather than drain it. As someone whose social battery was always depleted, they gave me the boost I needed to get out and do stuff. But now that they aren't here to get me out of the house, I'm reluctant to leave. Okay, so they were right, I need to make friends. I detach an unwilling Coin from my lap before hopping off the bar stool myself. The walk to my bedroom only makes me feel more tempted to crawl back into bed and hide away from the cold underneath piles of blankets and pillows. The fact that I would probably be walking to work in the snow didn't lessen that desire. I love walking in the snow. It's fun. Unless there's like a ton of snow. I find my work uniform lying in a pile near the foot of my bed, a dark green polo and pair of khakis. I haven't done laundry in a while, but it smelled alright. Nothing some smell goods couldn't fix. I'm dressed in seconds and don't have to actually leave for another 10. Guess I could lay down for a couple of minutes. My bed is soft and still warm from when I was last beneath the covers, My thick comforter is very persuasive, and I find myself falling backwards until my body makes contact with the fluffy cushion. I stretch out like I've seen Coin do when he finds a nice spot on the carpet, letting out a satisfied sigh as I feel my back pop. I lay my arms out wide, letting my hands curl underneath a pillow where it brushes up against something. Odd. My first instinct is to pull my hand back, unsure of what it was that I felt. When I allow my hand to make contact again, I realize it's paper. I take it out of its hiding spot, only to be proved correct. Oh, mailed. I unfold it to reveal a rather childish drawing of what I guess is me and Jack, my imaginary friend. Oh. It's been years since I thought of him. It's hard to remember all the details, but I can feel myself start to grin as my eyes linger on the drawing. I'm a sucker for all things nostalgic. Not sure how the drawing got under my pillow in the first place, but perhaps I dropped it when unpacking my last box the other day. Time for work. I peel myself away from the bed and shove the drawing in my back pocket. No real reason to, besides just wanting to keep it with me. I grab my fluffiest jacket from the side of my bed and pull it on. Now hold on. I saw some cameos here. Micah Eugen, and the stuffy he gives you. I don't know if this one is anything, but I had to look real hard at this one. That's Alan from My Dear Hatchet Man. If there's any other cameos that I missed, please let me know. I'm going to work now, Coin. Be a good boy while I'm gone. I pat his head gently and receive a purr in response. I'd rather stay home and cuddle with him, but I need money to do that comfortably. I check to make sure all the lights are off and Coin's food and water is filled before confidently making my leave. Wish me luck. It's cold. It wasn't just cold. It was absolutely freezing. Yesterday on my walk, I could barely see my breath in the air, but today it looked as though smoke was billowing out before me. Without a beanie or gloves on, my ears were left exposed to the sharp wind, and my hands fought for warmth inside of my jacket pockets. It's a 10-minute walk to work, and 1 minute in, I was already shivering. Despite how unbearably cold it was, I can't help but appreciate how calming winter is. As a kid, it was my favorite season. I was happy to come home with a stuffy nose and burning ears if it meant that I could play in the piles of snow outside for even just a tiny bit. To be honest, I'm not that inclined to play in the snow now. I'd rather admire it from the comfort of my home. A single snowflake falls before my eyes. I reach out and try to grab it, but fail miserably. A few more seconds pass, and more flurries start to fall around me. Well, speak of the devil, it's snowing. My ears start to ache as I stretch my lips into a smile. There's another thing about the winter that is somehow both indescribable yet charming about it altogether. I never feel alone when it snows. The shop is warm and inviting when I walk in. The smell of lavender and cinnamon hangs heavy in the air. I take a deep breath. No customers upon arrival. Great start to any retail shift. I make my way to the register. No manager in sight yet. I've gotten comfortable enough to no longer wait awkwardly for his instruction, and immediately get started on grabbing a new till from the back. I've only worked here for about 3-ish weeks, but I was already in love with this job, despite the serving customers part. I spent most of my shift listening to music while I stocked shelves and cleaned. It can get boring at times, but sometimes my manager will leave me extra stuff to do to pass the time. I slowly opened the door to the break room, alerting my manager of my presence, in case he was occupying the space. Mr. Goose, are you there? I am. Come in, Espoir. I find Goose with his back turned to me as he whispers numbers to himself, flipping through bills with inhuman speed. As he finishes, he turns to me with a welcome smile. What up, Mr. Goose? Good afternoon, Espoir. I trust you made your way here with no trouble? It's awfully cold out. Yeah, it's actually snowing right now. Is it now? I watched as he narrows his gaze at me, as if though trying to figure something out. It seems as though he makes his mind up with a aha as he hastily makes his way to a small box near a coat rack. He begins to dig around until 3 small bags are produced from the box. I stare at him, curiously, as he hands them to me. What are these for? Hand warmers. Your face is bright red, and you're shivering. Make sure to come more prepared. I wouldn't want you getting sick now. I appreciate it, Mr. Goose. It's my duty as your manager to ensure your health and safety. That's a good manager. Warm up now. We're going over tonight's itinerary. Since the snow is coming down hard, I doubt we'll have much business tonight. After giving ample time to allow my fingers to feel again, I was ready for work. I find Goose taking out the till for me and replacing it with a balanced one. I'm gonna go count this in the back. I suggest you get started on those boxes near the shelf over there. Yes, sir. Come on now. We've been over this. You know you don't have to call me sir. I already feel so old. Right. Yes. Goose. I appreciate it. Goose takes that as his cue and returns to the back. I make my way past the register and over to the pile of boxes he mentioned. There were a lot of boxes. They were stacked haphazardly against the wall and shelf. I was hesitant on where to start. I wonder if this is what he meant when he said going over an itinerary, because this was a lot more than I usually do. I picked the easiest box for me to reach and get started. Of course, the box I had to choose contains products that specifically went on the top shelves. Being on the tip of my toes was no help, and I couldn't find the stepping stool anywhere. I was frustrated and decided to do the one thing I can think of. I test out the bottom of the... Oh dear. Oh no, this will not end well. I test out the bottom of the shelf with my foot before applying my whole weight to it. It felt stable enough, and when I tried, hurrah, I got it. I set the box on a shelf, chest leveled with myself, and began unboxing. The weirdest thing about coming back to a town from your childhood is seeing all the changes. I remember when this shop was run by an elderly man and his wife. My only guess is that they had closed it down due to their old age. Goose's shop was definitely way more advanced compared to its predecessor. The memory of my family having to drive roughly an hour to the nearest grocery store came to mind. I'm glad I don't have to drive that far for milk now. It was quiet in the store, no bells signaling the entry of a customer. Goose was right. The snow really was slowing down business, which was nice. Definitely gives me more time to go through all these boxes. I'll have to ask Goose what these are all for. I push what seems to be the last can in place and let myself examine the work before me. I mean, they're lined up. Not much more I can say. I'm about to step off the shelf when... Excuse me, may I... Meld! I hadn't heard the customer come in, much less sneak up behind me. It had completely caught me off guard. I feel my foot slip from its place on the bottom of the shelf and began to fall backwards. Oh, I'm dead. This is how I die. I squeeze my eyes closed, scrunching my face up, bracing for impact. I feel a pair of hands catch my waist with ease, and I let out a gasp. I wait for the shock of contact and nut smacking into the floor to process before daring to look. My gaze lands on smooth lips and eyes as vast and blue as the winter itself. Oh! Oh my! Oh dear. I mean, I saw him in the title screen, but oh! So pretty. And he has fangs! Are you alright? I don't respond right away, mostly because of the surprise his expression gave me. His voice was silvery and light, but the tone of it sounded troubled. Deep worry crossed his features, dark brows pinched together, mouth drawn down in a pout, eyes twisted with concern. It was an intense expression to be given by a stranger, as though I personally worried them. Strangely enough, he was wearing a crop top in the middle of winter. Yeah, I was wondering if anyone was going to point that out. I felt his stare bear into my own, forcing me to look away. Are you injured? No, I'm not. I apologize for the fright. You're okay. Also, sorry about this.
No need. I'm glad you are unharmed.
I can feel his breath on my skin, his hands beginning to relax against my back. Can you help me stand up?
Oh, of course.
Oh! I found my grounding with the customer's help. Casually, I put some distance between us, my heart pounding.
Sir, how dare you? How dare you come to my store and be so handsome?
Ignoring the amount of embarrassment I was feeling at that moment, I put on my best customer service voice, or try to at least. Sir, I appreciate you for... Anyways, is there anything I can help you with today? Anything in particular you're looking for?
Actually, I'm looking for bedwear. Is he in?
Bedwear? I'm not sure. The back door from behind the register opens, revealing my boss. It was now Goose's turn to be surprised by the presence of the customer, but instead of astonishment, his face went wide with a smile.
Ah, just in time, Jack. I had half the mind to worry that something was holding you back. Espoir, this is the new temp I was telling you about. He'll be working with us for the rest of the season.
I look between Goose and the man. New hire? I briefly remember Goose telling me that we will be having a temp to help out, but I completely forgot that today is the day. Nice to meet you, Jack. I'm Espoir. He gives me a pleasant smile, the air around him cool and easygoing. I've always been awkward introducing myself to new people, but his confidence makes my nerves relax a tad bit. Gracefully, he lifts his hand as an offer. I'm hesitant, but I accept it nonetheless, allowing my very sweaty hand to meet his freezing one. I'm caught off by the intense coolness of his hand, but I don't realize when Jack leans down towards me, his smile widening into a mischievous smirk.
The pleasure is all mine.
It's when I look up and see his eyes boring into mine, a shiver runs down my back. My face begins to warm as I take into account just how close we are to one another. Now that I think about it, he's actually... yes, very cute, thank you very much. I don't know what part of me was possessed to think that, but I quickly shoo the idea away.
Well, it was the Espoir in your head going, he's cute, we should be his friend. Not to interrupt your thoughts, but you're still holding my hand.
I drop Jack's hand immediately, stunned by my own actions. I have a tendency to get lost in my own thoughts, but why did it have to be now? I attempt to leave the embarrassment I felt behind and turned my attention towards Goose.
Alright, so let's discuss our overall goal for the store. As you two are aware, the holidays are coming up, and locals are preparing for it. We may be a small store, but we are the closest. Espoir, to your knowledge, the next grocery store is nearly an hour and a half away, hence why I want you to spend your nights
While Goose speaks, I feel the urge to look over at my new co-worker. He is quite tall, taller than me or Goose. His hair was light and fluffy, kind of like snow. It didn't take long for Jack to notice my stare on him. Fluff! I got caught. Oh no, don't grin even more. A grin breaks out on his face, and it only makes me feel more flustered. Hastily, I look away.
And me and Blaze will take care of the customers during the morning hours. Alright, any questions?
Yes, one question.
What? No? Good. I must return home to my soap operas. Espoir, I left some coffee in the back if you need a little warm-up. It's going to be a long night, and the snow will not be kind. Also,
he pulls a protein bar out of his pocket, handing it to me.
Make sure to have plenty of energy. It's a lot of work. Hence why we have Jack here.
I felt touched and slightly embarrassed that my manager was looking out for me like that. In the short time that I've known him, he's been nothing less than considerate. I appreciate it, Goose.
Of course. Now, Jack, my boy, I'll be seeing you after your shift.
I watch as Goose ruffles Jack's hair playfully. They seem close.
And I wish you a good night. As to you. He's out of here. With that, Goose disappeared behind the fogged glass doors of the building, his silhouette fading the further it went down the cold, snowy road. An icy breeze that snuck its way in at Goose's departure causes me to shiver. Coffee doesn't sound that bad, actually. I turn to my new coworker with energy, ready to offer the hot beverage when I catch his stare at me. I shake it off. So, coffee? A short amount of time had passed since Goose left, and nothing had been accomplished yet. Mostly because I've been showing Jack how to use the box cutter. I walked out of the break room with our coffees when I saw Jack trying to use the box cutter by shaking it. A pretty amusing sight, and a great way to break the ice. Alright, so you just push down on this button, push up, and there you go. But be careful, it's super sharp, so just make sure you close it after you're done. As an example, I run the blade of the box cutter through a box between the both of us, and without even realizing it, I nick one of my fingers in the process. Ah! Because of course I did. That's embarrassing. Ow! Fluff. Well, that's definitely some blood. So, in short, just don't do what I just did. Before I could finish my sentence, I noticed that Jack was nowhere in sight. Did he just disappear? Aww. Here. I look up to my right and see Jack standing there with a cloth in his hand and a band-aid in the other. Wait, how did you... My words are cut off when Jack kneels before me. He didn't seem to hear me, as he was too focused on my injury, as insignificant as it was. Actually, never mind. I allowed Jack to press the damp cloth onto my cut and felt a slight sting. It wasn't deep, which was good. After the blood is cleaned away, he covers the cut with a band-aid. The whole interaction felt quite intimate, to say the least. It was odd to have a stranger be so concerned about me, especially over something as small as a cut on the finger. I give a reassuring smile to Jack, whose own face creased with worry. I appreciate the band-aid. It's not deep, so nothing too catastrophic. I go to grab the box cutter once more, determined to continue the job, but I'm halted by another hand. Jack's. He grabs the box cutter before I can reach it. I should do it instead of you. I'm alright. Like I said before, it wasn't bad. Your hand is shaking. No, it is... Oh, I guess you're right. So I'm guessing you've known Mr. Goose for a while now. I noticed you referred to him by another name earlier. Bedware. He usually doesn't give out his full name to others. Oh, so how do you know him? I've known him since I was a child. He's like a father to me. Whoa, are you here to just visit him then and help out? Jack stops stacking the boxes of pasta on the shelf and turns to me. For a second, I thought maybe I was annoying him with my questions, but instead he gave me a familiar, mischievous grin. You ask a lot of questions. Oh, Interested in me that much? Yeah. What? What? No, I swear I just wanted to get to know you better. I'm halted in my rambling when I hear my coworker begin to laugh. Sorry. I was just teasing you. I know it's not like that. Oh, I see. I could feel my face begin to heat up. He was just teasing me. Usually at this point, the conversation would die on my end, but something in me decided to try and be just as playful back. So I see you're teasing the person who risked their life trying to get that box open for you. Couldn't help myself. Both of us share a laugh, and the air becomes lighter. I don't really mind Jack's company as much as I thought I would. Albeit, I'm still awkward, but the urge to run away and hide is merely non-existent now. Bedware told me you just moved here. What made you come to Eustis? Ah, now look who's asking the questions. Guilty. Well, I was tired of living in the city, and the apartments here are cheaper. Also, I used to live here with my family.
and I was kind of feeling nostalgic. What about you?
I don't live here, but I am staying with Bedware for the time being, until the winter passes.
So, are you here to just help out with the shop?
No, actually, I'm here to visit an old friend of mine.
How long have you known them?
Since we were children, but I haven't seen her in a little over a decade. Despite this, she's near and dear to my heart.
Aw, that's so sweet. But holy crap, that is a long time to not see someone. I can't imagine not being able to see Bee for that long.
Bee?
Yeah, they're like a childhood friend of mine. Known them since middle school.
Childhood friend? I'm assuming that you two are close.
Very. I'm grateful to have Bee in my life, especially with how lonely growing up was. It was hard to make any friends. Sorry, kind of overshared in that last part there.
I don't mind. In fact, I'm happy you told me.
What's with that face? What's with that face there, Jack? You looking pretty salty about something.
Despite us being strangers, I'm glad that you have someone like Bee looking out for you.
Me too. And thanks for... Oh, wait. Could you open this one? I'd appreciate it.
I start to unpack the box. This one contains pasta sauce. The casual flow of the conversation was both foreign to me, yet exciting altogether. I look over at Jack and see his untouched cup of coffee. The steam was barely visible now.
Never had coffee before?
No, never.
Well, don't knock it before you try it.
Why would I knock it?
What?
Why would I knock the coffee?
Oh, I mean, as an expression, Jack. Like, you shouldn't disregard your coffee before you taste it. Maybe that isn't as common of a saying as I thought.
It seems I haven't heard that one before.
I hadn't noticed how courtly Jack was speaking until now. He spoke as though he was amongst knights and royalty, rather than a stalker in a grocery store. You did get your coffee plain. Want some sugar and milk with it? Perhaps it'll make your first experience better.
I wouldn't want to be a bother.
You wouldn't. I need to stretch my legs anyway, so it would be convenient, actually.
That sounds lovely. You have my thanks.
I don't know what part of me thought this was a good idea to say, but I blurted it out anyway. You know, you talk quite formally. Nice going. What a weird thing to say.
I'm aware.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. You just talk so fancy.
I talk fancy?
Yes? I might pass away from the embarrassment.
Do you like the way I talk, then?
What kind of question is that?
A serious one.
I mean, it's your voice. It doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It's you that matters. Oh, that got him.
Right.
Wait, that sounded very... Did I make that weird? We are strangers. That was totally weird. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Alright, now leave before you make it any more awkward. I'm going to leave now to get your coffee ready for you. Right now.
Okay.
Abort. I come back with Jack's coffee, reheated with milk and some sugar added. Jack is waiting for me, a pleasant smile on his lips. Here you go. Careful, it's hot.
I appreciate the gesture, Espoir.
Yeah, of course. Tentatively, he looks between me and his steaming beverage before taking a sip. I watch as his face contorts into several expressions before settling on one: confusion.
It's odd. The sugar aids well.
Want another drink?
No, you have done enough. I think I will stick to this. The flavors are interesting.
An hour or two has passed, and me and Jack were able to get through half of the boxes, filling the shelves to the brim with products. It was the most full I've ever seen the store. My stomach growls as I finished unpacking a box of tuna cans. Ooh, tuna. I should make some tuna salad. I get up and immediately catch myself. Sitting for so long seems to have made my legs go numb.
Careful, or I'll have to catch you again.
I got it. Well, I think it's time that I head to lunch. One of us has to stay to watch the store. Do you mind?
Not at all. Enjoy your lunch.
I will. When I get into the break room, I take out the protein bar Goose had given me to eat earlier. It's blueberry and cream flavored. Ooh. It's now that I begin to allow my mind to wander to the snow, coin, my comfy bed, and the drawing. Oh, I almost forgot about it. Excitedly, I reach into my back pocket, but it's empty. I check the other back pocket, then my front ones. No drawing. Did I drop it? Of course I lost it. I try to shove the disappointment down. It was just a drawing, nothing too crazy. Still, I wanted to check it out some more. The last of my protein bar tastes bland, but I shovel it down. I'm back! My coworker doesn't respond as I get closer to the spot where I left him. I see Jack looking at a piece of paper, intently. It was my drawing. Now Jack noticed me, a faint smile on his lips.
Did you draw this?
Yeah. How did you get that?
It fell out of your pocket when you left for lunch.
Ah.
It's a lovely drawing.
Well, it's not that nice. I drew this when I was a kid. Had an imaginary friend, who also happened to go by the name Jack as well, funny enough.
Do you remember anything about him?
Not really, but I remember being obsessed with fairies and whatnot. I was actually very excited when I found this.
Fairies?
Oh, yeah, I had a wild imagination as a kid. You would not believe the things I made up.
I beg to differ. How was your lunch?
It was actually pretty good. No complaints.
Shall we return to our tasks?
See, this is what I mean by fancy.
And you say I'm the one to tease you.
The rest of the shift went by better than I had expected. Any tension that was between us is barely noticeable now. It was actually kind of nice, getting along with someone. It's so normal that I'm kind of impressed with myself. I hit the button too fast. It was after our shift when the store finally closed down. We had managed to get through most of the boxes that night, but I can only imagine there being even more tomorrow. It was still freezing cold, but the wind had died down. The view of the snow underneath the moonlight was a comforting sight. Jack was to my right as I made my way to the sidewalk. Why does it have to be so cold?
Don't like the cold?
I do, but it still sucks when my coat basically does nothing to protect me. Speaking of, how are you not freezing? You only have a crop top on.
I rule the snow. It does not rule me.
Guess determination can keep you warm. I can feel the air growing awkward between us. Well, I hope you get home safe tonight, Jack.
Same with you. Oh, need company on your walk home tonight?
Sure. The walk home felt longer than usual. Without the distraction of work, the awkward silence between me and Jack was as clear as day. I'm not good with small talk, but I try. It feels warmer now than it did 10 minutes ago. The forecast said it should be below freezing by now.
What is the forecast?
Do you not watch it on TV, or...
No, I do not own such things.
Really? Why is that?
I have no use for them.
Well, I guess that's fair. You're the first person I met to not own a TV. That's crazy. And kind of cool.
Cool?
Yeah, I mean, I watch TV all day usually. I'm stuck to it like glue, which isn't really that good to be honest. I should really get out more. Anyways, what do you usually do in your spare time?
In my spare time? Well, I like to cook when I have the time.
You like to cook?
Dude, that's awesome! Best I can cook is instant ramen with eggs. Yeah! When did you start cooking? What do you like to make? I've been cooking ever since I was a child. I like to make a variety of things. Grilled fish, roasted chicken and beef, soups, and plenty of other things. It was my dear friend I told you about earlier that actually got me into cooking. Hearing the passion in my coworker's voice brought a warm smile to my cold face. That's amazing, Jack. You'll have to bring me some food sometimes. That is, if you're willing. I would be honored to cook for you. So, how does this forecast work? Oh, yeah, so meteorologists use a device to predict the weather. Then the news will tell us the results in the weather forecast. Interesting. Well, how do you predict the weather without using the TV? This question seems to stump Jack. I wonder if it was a stupid question to ask. Divination. Divination? Pfft, I guess you're the type of person that can tell if it's going to rain by the smell of the wind. In a matter of speaking. Before I know it, we make it to my apartment. Thanks for walking me home. Of course, it was my pleasure. I'm unsure if it's because I'm in a good mood or not, but I decided to say, yeah, you're pretty cool. Such kind words to bestow upon me. Have a warm night, Espoir. See you tomorrow. Aww. I rush down the sidewalk towards my apartment. It's not until I'm almost at my door that I realize how much warmer it was outside. Guess the forecast was wrong. I've done a lot of things today that were outside of my comfort zone. I've held conversations, multiple, with another person, and somehow I'm still breathing. I'm home, Coin. Did you miss me? Hello, sir. I'll take that as a yes. I hate talking to people. It takes so much of my energy. But maybe I have a chance at a new friendship. What do you think? Coin looks over at me from his spot near my pillow with tired eyes. I know, time for bed. I shuffle lazily until I find the right position. Good night, my sweet prince. Oh. I remember playing in the woods just beyond the yard of my dad's house. I was foraging for worms, berries, mud, all sorts of foresty things to make the perfect fairy soup. Nothing really provoked such an idea out of me besides pure boredom and a wild imagination. I was a shy kid to say the least, and found more joy in my own world than in others. It wasn't until I met him that I felt like I could share my world with anyone else. I was digging through the mud, trying to find the worms for my secret dish, as it had just rained. That's when my 7-year-old self realized I had become lost. The first thing to come were the tears. I wailed loudly as hot tears blinded my vision. I wandered aimlessly, tripping pathetically over small twigs and rocks, until I gave up and dropped to the ground, heaving. Daddy! Papa! I don't want to be alone! It was hard for a child to calm down in such a scary predicament, alone and lost in the woods that they were just playing in joyously moments ago. It was when I heard the quiet crunching of leaves from behind me that I was able to calm down enough and listen to the noise. Curiosity quickly overcame the fear I felt as I slowly got up and faced the noise. Hello? Hiccups and sniffles escaped my quivering lips as I took steps towards a small clearing in the trees, when I felt the urge to stop. I couldn't explain it, but I felt like if I went any further, I would intrude. I looked down at my mud-stained feet and see a line of mushrooms before me. Confused, I followed the mushrooms with my eyes as they seemed to stretch far out before me. I hear a branch snap behind me and I jump, twirling around, but I see no one there. Instead, I hear a voice. Ugly sound. How will you deafen our trees with your pathetic wails?
Being the child that I was confused by the wording and the absence of a person for the voice that it belonged to. I look forward, behind, side to side, and even up, but I see no one. So I conjured up the only answer I could think of.
Are you the wind?
A chill runs down my back as the wind picks up. It was the beginning of autumn, and most of the days had been rainy and at worst slightly chilly. But it felt as if the temperature was dropping faster than it actually could, and then I saw him. As the leaves left the forest floor, twirling up with the icy wind until it obscured my vision, they then suddenly dropped down, revealing a figure before me. I try my best to describe him, but nothing comes to mind. But I had the gut feeling that I knew what he was.
Oh,
a fairy. I'm more colder and more cunning than the wind, human. He was a boy, maybe around my age, if not a bit older. He glared at me with a hate so vile that I felt myself shrink back within myself, unsure what to do. So I do the only thing I know how to do. I cry.
So scary!
I didn't notice the way the boy's shoulders drooped, or the way the boy's face twisted from annoyance to dumbfoundedness to downright concern as the temperature began to warm up. I began to back up, unconsciously, as I sob, but something stopped me, a hand on my arm. Instinctively, I pull away from the boy, forcefully screaming how he had scared me, when I hear his once cold voice turn panic. I apologize for scaring you. Please, take a step forward. If you keep pulling away from me like that, you'll step into the circle. Oh no, you'll get in a fairy circle, get caught by the fairies.
Circle?
The tears stop, and once again, a whimper escapes me as I look down behind me and see that I had almost crossed the line of mushrooms. My throat grows tight as I feel the unwelcomeness settling back in. I felt the boy gently tugging at my arm, and this time I followed without question. When I had calmed down, I stared at the fairy boy before me.
Why can't I step inside the circle?
Past that line of mushrooms is my home. It is dangerous for humans to be in.
Why?
We aren't fond of humans.
Why?
Because you're just a means to an end.
What does a means to an end mean?
Do you question everything spoken to you?
Are you a fairy? Are you?
Yes, I am. How did you know? I stepped towards him in awe. I was right. He was a fairy.
Did you come to visit me because of my fairy soup?
Fairy soup? What are you talking about? Digging through my satchel, I pull out a small bag filled with mud and berries, and I hold it out to him expectantly.
I couldn't find you any worms. Daddy says protein is good for you, but here you go.
I try offering it to the boy, only for him to step back from me with disgust. We don't eat worms or mud, and those berries are poisonous. Why would you make this? I didn't think humans were this peculiar.
You don't like my soup?
His eyes widen as he steps forward and holds onto my shoulders lightly. Please don't cry again.
You're mean.
I'm just being honest.
Well, your honesty sucks.
I feel myself getting angry, but I am only confused as the boy before me cracks a smile and starts to giggle.
Why are you laughing? You're laughing at me, you big ol' meanie.
Waves of cackles leave his body, shaking as he wipes a tear from his eye, choosing to look up at me, flashing his biggest smile. I think you are funny, for a human. I'm once again confused. Was he being nice or being mean? I couldn't tell, but as I see the smile he gives me, I ease up again.
You think I'm funny?
Don't make me repeat myself.
Well, despite how much of a meanie you are, I think you're cool. For a fairy.
I am a winter fae. Of course I would be cool.
I don't mean cold cool. I mean cool.
I do not understand. I could tell he was having a hard time breaking down what I was saying, and felt a certain childish pride well up in me as I explained.
I mean cool as in you're amazing.
At this, his face turns a shade darker at my response, and I take that as a victory.
Amazing? No! I should be terrifying, frightening, not
amazing.
But I don't like it when you're scary.
You baffle me.
Baffle?
Never mind. It is best that you get home, human, before it gets too dark. At this, I remember my predicament and feel a ping of anxiety form in my chest.
I got lost. I don't remember where home is.
I feel my lips quiver, but before it could devolve into anything worse, I feel a hand grab onto my own. I will help you find your home.
You will?
Yes, lest you start crying again. At this, my heart races with excitement as I go to hug the young boy.
Thank you. You are an amazing fairy.
He pushes me back gently with a small smile, letting go of my hand as he does. I appreciate your kind words. But heed my warning, human. If a fairy ever offers you help, refuse it. Most fairies just want humans to be in their debt or trick them into becoming their eternal servant. And never say thank you. Fairies take it as an offense. His words were at a loss to my 7-year-old brain, but I simply nodded my head at his warning.
What's your name?
I am called Jack. Jack Frost.
Frost? Whoa!
I suppose this walk will be the bane of my existence.
What is bane of my existence mean?
I think I prefer your crying over this.
Hey, you meanie!
And so, that was how I met Jack Frost, my first friend, a fairy. After returning me home, he told me to never return to the forest again, but I refused to listen, as our worlds were bound to collide once more. I usually don't remember my dreams, but I couldn't forget this one. Good morning! Morning. Funny how you texted me right as I turned on my phone. That's because of our psychic connection. I can sense what you're thinking, meaning I can tell when you are awake. As a psychic, I can sense that you have something to tell me. You aren't wrong. Maybe you are psychic. You know it. Now tell me, what's up? I love me some gossip before class. Not really gossip, more like a weird dream. Oh, even better. What happened? Well, it was about an imaginary friend of mine. Oh, I know this one. It's the fairy one, right? Yeah, Jack. The dream was so weird, though. It felt like I was remembering something rather than dreaming it, like I was living in the moment. I felt everything. The cold wind, the smell of the woods. Maybe I'm not explaining this well. No, you good. Maybe this is your subconscious self reminding you of your childhood in Eustis before life became complicated. Like, maybe Jack represents the adventure and carefreeness you desire as an adult with responsibilities. I read something like that on a website somewhere. Wow, that's oddly specific. And I mean, I guess, was I even an adventurous kid? I don't know what could have made me so closed off from others, and even outside itself. I'm not sure either. You said your parents just moved away randomly, right? Yeah, something like that. We just moved one day. No reason, really. I didn't have a lot of friends anyhow. Maybe it was my obsession with fairies that drove them away. Well, it didn't drive me away. True. Thanks for listening to my rambling, Bee. It's no problem, friend. Woo-woo. I decide not to mention the other Jack for now. Knowing Bee, they would gush over the potential of a new friend, and I can't handle that teasing right now. A good portion of my morning was spent texting B about college and nonsense, watching TV, and scrolling through my phone mindlessly.
Oh!
Ray! And Ren!
I have a feeling they would be glaring at each other from the opposite sides of the wall. That's a nice ray. I would hang that poster up on my wall.
I look out the window from where I'm relaxing on the couch. It had snowed all last night, and only flurries were falling now. Eustis was mostly just forest and mountains. Seeing it covered in a blanket of snow was a magnificent sight. I would say this is one of the best perks about moving away from the city. It feels so peaceful to be this close to nature. Perhaps I should get out and explore it sometimes. When was the last time I went out and had fun without being persuaded to? Thinking back to what I said to B, I realized that maybe it's time for a change. The whole reason I moved to Eustis in the first place was a change of scenery. I can change my habits too. It wasn't long before I had to get ready for my shift. I waved goodbye to Coin and head out into the snow. I took Goose's advice and made sure to wear a beanie and a pair of gloves today, and, unsurprisingly, I don't feel like an ice cube when entering the shop. Across the store, I see both my coworker, Blaze, and the newest addition to the team, Jack. I instinctively make my way towards them, but stop when I hear the coldness in Blaze's voice as he spoke.
Uh-oh.
What the heck are you doing here?
I'm working.
Ha! Alright, Your Majesty. Listen here and listen close. If I catch you doing anything fishy, the treaty is off.
Hey, is there some fairy nonsense going here?
Like I've stated before, I'm simply here to visit a friend, nothing more.
Also, you did your hair. Your hair looks nice.
Friend, that's rich coming from you. Don't get all high and mighty now that your father is gone. Blaze? What? Touched a nerve? I'm warning you. Oh, there's the real Jack. Nice to see you again, bud. I had no prior information to go off of, but I can tell it was getting heated between the two. It was a side of Blaze I had never seen. Sure, he was kind of hot-headed, but to see him verbally insult someone was new.
All right, you two, cut it out.
You can't be serious. You know why.
Oh, I am. Leave the personal drama outside of work. Plus, you're making Espoir uncomfortable.
Both of their eyes widen in surprise as they slowly turn to look at me.
I just got here, guys.
I immediately feel put on the spot, tension swelling up in my chest. Blaze's face contorted to shame, while Jack began to look uncomfortable with himself. I didn't know the situation, but I couldn't help but feel bad for them. Whatever, my shift just ended anyway. I'll be seeing you later, Espoir. With that, Blaze discards his name tag and makes his way to the door, eyes locked on Jack's until he's forced to look away. He shoots me a small, apologetic smile as he passes before exiting through the front door behind me.
Well, that was something.
I turned my attention over to Jack, whose gaze was not on the door, but on me. His expression was now melted into something warmer, as though the altercation between him and Blaze did not happen moments before. Something was telling me it was best to leave the topic itself alone, though it was weird seeing these new sides of them. I attempt to have a conversation. Hey.
Hey.
You put your hair in a ponytail.
I found that I prefer my hair not getting in my face while I work.
Well, you kind of missed your bangs there.
I think my bangs make me look mysterious. Now then, how about we go ahead and get started on the next shipment?
Goose basically pushes us towards the crowding pile of boxes, leaving us to our own devices as he watches the register. Just like last night, boxes were stacked up high, almost touching the ceiling with its impressive height. Why would you stack them that high? Glad I have someone as tall as Jack to get those. It didn't take long for us to get situated in our routine. My finger was practically healed after one day, so it shouldn't be a problem to use the box cutter. As if reading my mind, Jack speaks.
How was your finger?
Well, it's basically healed now. I offer my unbandaged finger as proof, a thin silver line replacing where my cut was. Jack grabs onto my hand gently, pulling it towards him as to inspect the wound. The sudden contact startles me a bit. Aww. He doesn't respond back as he studies my finger. I watch as his pale curls fall around his face. His hair is soft and pillowy and reminds me of the snow just outside of the store. The thought made me think of the mountains I saw from my bedroom window this morning, and it brings a smile to my face. I'm nearly lost in thought when I hear Jack speak again.
I will use the box cutter for today.
Jack, if you can't tell, my finger is fine. Don't worry about it. I'm confused and even surprised by his sudden declaration, but when Jack says nothing in return and keeps the box cutter near him, I knew better than to protest. We're strangers, yet I can tell something is off. I knew he had to be hung up on what Blaze had said earlier. You alright, buddy? When I don't get a response, I look over at my coworker and see that smirk.
Worried about me, Espoir?
Should I be? Jack seems to be caught off guard by my concerned tone. He lets out a sigh.
No, everything is all right. I ask you not to worry yourself over it.
I don't feel convinced for some reason, but I should leave it to rest. It's not my business to know, and it's not like me and Jack are friendly enough to be vulnerable with each other anyhow.
I appreciate the concern, truly.
Now I'm the one caught off guard. Yeah, of course. We spend the next hour in silence until Goose announces his departure and leaves. It's just me and Jack now. There weren't as many boxes as yesterday, so thankfully we may actually be able to finish before the end of our shift. The store closes in a few hours, and there wasn't a customer in sight. Hopefully, no one comes so I can listen to my music in peace. Music was a great way to help the time pass. Though, I would feel bad if I were to leave Jack out, and I don't really want to play my music out loud in case there is actually a customer. Usually, I would be too awkward to do this with someone I barely know, but surprisingly, I don't hesitate with my next words. Hey, I'm going to listen to music. Want to listen too? I pull out my wireless earbuds and hand one to Jack. A confused expression crosses on his face as he takes it from my grasp carefully, as though unsure what to do with it. It's not until I put my earbud in one ear that he follows suit. It seems like Jack isn't too familiar with technology. I mean, he knows what a phone is, but last night, when we were closing shop, he was amazed by what it could do, and all I was doing was texting. I never met anyone who hasn't owned a phone before. I put on one of my favorite songs and get back to work, humming along as I set cans of tomato paste along the beat. After a couple of songs and some finished boxes, Jack finally speaks.
I've never heard music like this before. Goose had shown me some of his music collection, but it does not compare to this.
Jack was now humming along to the song, bopping his head as he did. I chuckled at the sight.
Is something amusing you?
You just look like you're enjoying yourself.
I am.
Glad to hear it.
You have such a pleasant laugh.
What?
Your laugh. I like listening to it.
Oh, my laugh? Really? He's looking over at me, crystal blue eyes glistening from the fluorescent lighting. He had a genuine smile on his face. It was a compliment. I've never been good with compliments. And how can he say such a thing with a smile on his face? I would be a blushing mess if I were him. I appreciate it. Yeah. Wow, I have such a way with words. That's all you need to say. All you need to say is thank you. I relax when I hear Jack himself begin to dissolve into laughter.
Certainly.
I feel my face grow hot from embarrassment. The air around us felt much thicker than before. I try to ignore it and focus back on shelving products when I see Jack appear in my peripheral.
This belongs over there, by you.
Jack held a can of tomato sauce in his hand. It must have been in his box as an extra. I fully expect him to hand the can to me, but instead he shifts out of his spot beside me and leans in front of me. He reminds me of my cat, with the way he stretches out, arm extended. I don't notice until I take a deep breath that I catch his scent. He smells like spruce and moss. I never noticed it before, but even yesterday when he caught me from falling. It was strong and potent, but in a nice way, like I was taking a walk in the forest. A familiar scent. He places the tomato sauce in its rightful spot before turning back to look at me, a smile on his lips. Our faces were mere inches apart. Hey there.
Hey!
It comes out, breathless, and I feel my voice catch in my throat. I decide to focus on the shelf behind him, avoiding his gaze. I don't know why I feel so on edge today. At every corner, Jack has caught me off guard. Before I can think to say anything, Jack pulls away and sits back in his spot. Instinctively, my eyes follow back over to him. He continues to stack products on the shelf, a small smile on his face. An hour passes by, and it's almost time for lunch. I can already feel my stomach growling at the thought.
Excuse me there.
An unfamiliar voice rings out from behind us. Me and Jack turn around to see an older woman in her 70s standing with a smile. I ditch my earbud and give her my best smile.
Yes, ma'am. How may I help you out today? Could you show me where the sweets are? I have the midnight munchies.
Of course, ma'am. Follow me.
Thank you, dearie.
I leave Jack to show the customer where the sweet goods are. She ends up filling her tiny basket with donuts, oatmeal cookies, brownies, and the likes. I helped her carry her surprisingly heavy basket to the front. Now that I think about it, Jack has never used the register before. This would be a great best... Now that I think about it, Jack has never used the register before. This would be the best time for him to learn. Hey, Jack, do you mind coming here for a quick second? Goodness. Jack emerges from behind the aisle, a smile on his face. You called? Yeah, I was going to show you how to use the register. We're going to help this customer here. I hope you don't mind, ma'am.
Oh, no, not at all.
She turned to Jack as she spoke.
You must be new here. I remember everyone's faces. It's a small town, after all.
I'm not going to lie, I don't even remember this lady, so I'm not surprised she considers me a familiar face. You are correct. Mr. Goose recently hired me to help out a spa here for the holiday season.
Very good. What's your name, young man?
My name is Jack, and to whom do I owe the pleasure to?
Oh my. I am Mrs. Beverly. You may address me as Beverly, or Bev for short.
Jack makes his way to the register. Once there, I noticed his occasional eye contact with the customer, but mostly his gaze was on the wall behind her. He was so calm and cool. Despite this, he just felt more reserved. I don't know how to explain it, but he did. I made quick work of going over the basics with Jack. Thankfully, the customer was understanding and patient. Jack completes the task efficiently and accurately, the complete opposite of how I was when I first started.
Thank you, dearies. My wife is waiting in the car. Best get going now.
Of course, ma'am. Have a wonderful night. I watch as Jack casually spreads his lips in a pleasant smile. I wish you a wonderful night, Mrs. Beverly.
You have a good night too yourself, son.
She gives Jack her biggest smile before making her way out of the store and into the snowy night. I turned to Jack, who still had his eyes on the spot the customer was at moments ago. He seemed to be deep in thought, or maybe he was just zoning out. Either way, he felt far away at this moment. Perhaps he also gets anxious around people too, but he seems so confident. Sorry for making you do that. You know, I also get nervous with customers. I mean, I've gotten better now, but when I first started working, I couldn't even squeak out a simple greeting. I see. Well, you are doing a fantastic job now. Oh, I appreciate it, Jack. It's not how I wanted the conversation to go, with Jack comforting me instead of vice versa. I thought maybe we could relate to the struggle together. But he seemed to deflect my concern. Maybe I misread the situation. He doesn't say anything else after that, and I'm worried that I overstepped a boundary. Nevertheless, I leave it be. It's hard to open up to someone you barely know.
You keep pointing out to how much you are strangers, but I believe you are not strangers.
Few weeks have passed since I had that dream. The dream of a rude little fairy boy who would eventually become my friend. I've had several dreams of him since then, all playing together as one big story. Tonight was no different. Me and Jack decided to start meeting each other in the woods just outside the circle he warned me never to go near. Today was our 5th playdate. Winter was already here. Snow coated the entire forest.
Jackie!
I told you not to call me that.
But I think it's cute.
Fine. You may refer to me as Jackie.
You're so funny.
As you have said times before.
Ooh, what you got there?
I noticed Jack holding a small container made of polished wood. It looked interesting. Oh, this is a gift. For you.
A gift? For me? Wait, I thought you said I shouldn't accept gifts from fairies.
Well, yes, but you can only accept gifts from me.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Anyways, here you go. I hope you are hungry. He hands the box over to me, which I clumsily take. I open it eagerly, and immediately an earthy and savory aroma hits me. It's mushroom soup, or as I would call it.
Fairy soup! You gave me fairy soup?
Jack flinched away from my joyous outburst, but still smiled. It is mushroom soup. Nevertheless, I thought I'd make you something that fairies actually eat. You know, in case you decide to make it yourself again.
Whoa, you made this? I want to eat it now.
Jack chuckles at my excitement, a trait of mine he used to be annoyed by. I have utensils. Let's make seating on those logs over yonder. We sit down on the moss-covered logs, a large stump of wood between us acting as a table. Jack brings 2 wooden bowls out of a satchel he had been carrying, laying them out on the flat surface of the stump. Finally, he pours the soup in each bowl, passing one to me with a spoon.
I appreciate your kindness.
I corrected myself, gaining a smirk from Jack. I made no waste in digging in. As much as a child's palate probably didn't understand the complex flavors of the soup before me, I adored it.
This is tasty.
My mouth is full of mushrooms as I talk. Jack scrunched his nose at the display and pulled out a blue handkerchief, reaching over the table to wipe my face as I swallowed. Don't eat with your mouth open. It's disgusting.
You can be a meanie sometimes.
And you can be annoying. The triumph smile soon fades from Jack's face as tears start to form in my eyes. Wait, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said such a thing. Please don't cry.
I'm sorry. I ate with my mouth open.
Jack abandons his soup and runs over to my side, pulling me into a hug. Don't cry, Flower. I feel sudden interest at the nickname. The tears that stain my face stop rolling down my cheek.
Flower?
Yeah, you call me Jackie, so I thought I might call you Flower. Do you like it?
Uh-huh.
I allow Jack to wipe my tears away and begin to calm down. No one besides my dad's have given me a nickname before. It was nice. Jack was kneeling beside me when he took my hands into his own, a serious expression on his face. I was being a meanie. Can you forgive me?
I'll forgive you only if you let me braid your hair.
Sounds like a deal. Your Highness! A voice rang out from among the trees, past the circle and deeper into the woods. It sounded like Mr. Barry. Jack looked towards the direction of the woods with irritation. We haven't even finished our meals yet. Jack pouted. It was funny seeing him like that, but the idea of him leaving so soon made me sad.
Does this mean you have to go?
Yes. Jack looked between me and back towards where he heard Mr. Barry. I still have to walk you home. It's too cold to go alone. We quickly clean up our lunch and make our way towards my house. Mr. Barry called again from behind us. He sounded much closer. I turned to Jack with an idea in mind.
Last one in my backyard has to bring fairy soup next.
I start sprinting off, Jack following close behind. In the end, Jack won, and since I never cooked a single thing before, Jack offered to cook for our next hangout, and the one after that.
Oh.
I really do have a wild imagination. In the past 2 weeks, me and Jack have become friends. It still surprises me. I usually have trouble making friends just from general antisocialness. However, everything just happened so naturally. It was a nice change of pace from the awkward hellos and silence that usually followed suit that happened with others. I mean, it took 2 weeks before me and Blaze held a conversation. Jack and I spoke on the very first day. Tonight, we were going to be working the same shift again, and I was kind of looking forward to it. Yet again, it was another cold night, but not as bad as when the snow first fell. My face and hands weren't burning from the blistering cold, so that was already a good start. Jack was kind enough to walk me back to my place. I'm so happy that we got all those boxes done tonight. Just a little tiring, though. You need rest. I know. I wave him off with a laugh and earn a smile in return. This is nice. Walking home in the snow with a friend. So we're friends? Yeah, wait, are we friends? I just assumed since... Don't worry, we're friends. Oh, you really like to mess with me, don't you? I do. But it is nice walking with you, too. And the snow, it is also nice. How elegantly put. Is that sarcasm I'm hearing? Maybe. He reaches over and ruffles my hair. I see you're playing the role of jester tonight. Of course, I am hilarious. You're sure about that? Yeah. Go on then, make me laugh. Puns! Pun time! What does a clock do when it's hungry? It goes back for seconds. He is not amused. Hey, the other option was to tickle you. Do you get it? I unfortunately do. Oh, you jerk. What? It was such a terrible pun. But I must admit defeat. You did make me laugh. Haha, I win. I nudge his shoulder playfully with my own as we continue walking. It doesn't take long before my apartment appears in the distance. As we approach the front of the complex, I stop and turn to Jack. Well, I guess this is me. It would seem so. I shuffle awkwardly on my feet, feeling a bit nervous. I've been enjoying Jack's company so far. I'm not sure if I was ready for the night to end just yet. Oh dear. Well, why don't we invite him in? I mean, you wouldn't want him walking in the cold wearing just that, even though he seems really fine with it. Do you want to come inside? Oh. I mean, you don't have to. It is late. I would love to. Oh, cool. Right, then follow me. Thankfully, my apartment is clean. I'm happy I actually decided to be productive this morning. I took off my jacket, hanging it up before making my way to the kitchen. Want anything to drink? I'll take a cup of coffee, cream and sugar if you don't mind. Planning to stay up late? If it means I can hang out with you more, then yes. I can feel my face go red. Sometimes Jack can just be so open with his thoughts. It always catches me off guard. However, the fact that a friend is willing to stay up late with me because they want to hang out with me fills me with some sort of pride. Guess that means I'll be needing coffee too. By the time I finish brewing, I turn to find Jack on the ground, petting Coiny. Coiny himself is purring ridiculously loud as he pushes into Jack's touch. Never seen him act that friendly with someone before. Wow, I'm surprised. Coin usually doesn't warm up to people that easily. You seem to have some sort of effect on him.
I'm a master at bonding with creatures.
Of course you are. What are you not good at?
Oh, is that a compliment I'm hearing?
It's not even a compliment at this point. More like a fact.
You know, I'm not good at everything.
Well, my mind is made up. Guess you'll have to prove me wrong. I walk over to Jack, handing him his mug.
Well, for one, I can't make a delicious cup of coffee.
Touché. Jack follows me as I move over to the living room, setting down onto the couch. He takes his seat to the left of me. Unfortunately, my couch is rather small, even for two people. Our shoulders were mere inches apart from touching. Wanna watch a movie?
Sure.
Alright, what kind?
How about romance?
You like romance?
Are you taken aback by the idea of me liking romance?
No, I just didn't expect it. You don't seem like the type to watch rom-coms in your free time.
That's because I don't watch them. I read them.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, what do you like most about the romance genre?
I like the part where they get together. I think it's satisfying.
I can see that. With that, we turned our attention towards the TV where we searched for a film to watch. Once we had one selected, we began the movie. The movie started out slow, nothing really to note. Because of that, I found my eyes wandering around the room before finally landing onto Jack. You don't notice his adorable fangs. If those are fangs. He was staring intently at the screen, brows furrowed in concentration. His eyelashes were long and wispy, like the branches on a winter tree. Now that I think about it, everything about Jack exuded the winter season, from his hair to his eyes to even the clothes he wore. I wonder how he would look in the spring. Now that I think about it, I don't know much about Jack. He seems to just be a playful type of guy, but I actually don't know anything about him as a person. He hasn't really opened up about himself to me. I wonder if he even feels that comfortable around me to begin with.
Are you enjoying the film?
Yeah, I am. What about you?
It's entertaining.
We watch the rest of the movie in silence. By the time it ends, my cup of coffee is empty, and I let out a yawn.
Tired, are we?
Yep, you were right. I need to rest.
Then best to let you get to it then, yeah?
Jack walks over to the door, stopping to pet Coin on the way out. It seems like the cat was already near the exit, waiting for him. Maybe you should come over more often just to hang out with Coin.
Oh, I think I'd rather see you.
Well, yeah, cool. How can you, say things so openly? I'm so bad at words.
I know. I enjoy it.
Woe is me. Once again I fall victim to Jack's bullying.
You like it when I bully you.
And what makes you think that?
I don't know. Maybe it's just that huge grin on your face right now.
I don't know what you're talking about. I really like tonight. It's nice to have a friend to hang out with. I mean, not like I don't have friends. Well, I actually only am friends with 2 people. Anyways, it was kind of getting lonely here, so I wanted to express my thanks to you.
Certainly. I also enjoyed tonight.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, good night.
Good night, Flower.
With that, Jack makes his exit, and I'm left with a warm feeling inside. Flower. Are you getting it now? I mean, granted, she thought he was imaginary, but The next day, I work alone, and my shift goes by rather quickly. I walk down the sidewalk in silence. Like always, it's dark when I get off of work. I have to depend on the streetlights to illuminate the path before me. Despite the forecast predicting the weather to be below freezing, these past few weeks have been warmer than expected. Tonight, however, the snow was heavy, and I felt like a walking ice cube. Fluff, why is it so cold? The wind begins to pick up, and I have to pull my jacket over my head to block it. Of course, I forgot my beanie at home. It's a quiet night. Besides the small whisper of the wind blowing, it's serene and calm, but lonely. I used to like my loner vibes, but now, it kinda sucks. When did it all change? When I met him. I shake my head to try and clear my mind. Fine, I'll admit it, I miss Jack. But it's normal to miss your friends. I mean, I always miss B. Is that... The streets are clear of any pedestrians and bystanders. The only thing near me is an empty road and a patch of woods to my right. Is someone in the woods just having a conversation? That seems kind of weird. I approach the tree line, stopping when the snow gets a little too deep for my liking. I hold my breath and listen. You, no one, you. I can barely hear what is being said. It's basically impossible to make out. Before I can even think to stop, I blurt out, "Anyone out there?" Immediate silence. Okay, so someone is definitely in the woods and they heard me. What are they doing? Maybe they need my help. However, I've also heard enough horror stories to know that this could end badly. Who in their right mind would just walk into the woods knowing someone unknown is in there? Yeah. But there is this nagging feeling in me. Something just feels wrong, and I need to find out. I should... let's investigate. I leave any fear or hesitance behind and make my way past the tree line. The snow is pretty deep today, and I'm having to lift my legs a little higher than usual. The further I walk, the more perplexed I become. Snow was melted into puddles of water despite the cold, and the leaves on some of the bushes I passed were charred and smelled faintly of smoke. Uh-oh. Are the boys fighting in the forest? Did someone try to start a fire? I don't have to go far before I hear a noise coming from my left. It sounded like someone was groaning in pain. So I was right. Good job, instincts. I quickly make my way through the snow and foliage before coming upon a clearing. Jack? Oh no! He is hurt! The first thing I notice is his burnt clothes. His arm and side are exposed to the cold night. His skin, there was a deep red. His lip was busted. Oh no, are the boys fighting? What the heck happened? Jack, what happened? Are you okay? I rushed to Jack's side. What was he doing in the forest all alone? How did this happen? Did someone hurt him? How did he get burnt? I need to help him. I'm dumbfounded when he smiles at me. Please do not worry about me, Flower. Are you serious? Obviously I'm going to worry. My point is proven when he winces in pain from the slightest movement. How bad is it? Can you stand? Not so bad, and yes, I believe so. Good, because I don't have a car, and we need to get you to the hospital. Maybe we can call Goose. No, that will not be necessary. Jack, are you being serious right now? You need medical attention. You are right. Nevertheless, you must not go to a hospital. Neither should Goose know. Why? Jack? If I show you, will you stay by my side, Flower? Of course. I'm not leaving you. Then it shall be so. Jack sits there for a moment, and all is silent. Then, the unbelievable happens. Ooh.
Daisy, get a load of this. Daisy.
He is...
It's been years, Flower.
Oh. Thankfully, we see no one as we make our way down the sidewalk. It's one of the reasons I like working the night shift. You usually never run into people at this time of night. But it was nice when I had someone to walk with. I think back on the late night walks me and Jack would take. It was so nice, so fun. Now, it feels awkward. I don't know what to say to the person beside me. I have so many questions in my head. I mean, he grew a whole foot taller. He has blue skin, horns, pointy ears. He's literally my imaginary friend. I feel so... My head, it's just swimming with questions. Like, how did he find me? Was this a coincidence? Or planned? Fairies are real? Nevertheless, does any of this really change anything between us? I mean, it kind of does. But should I really let this bother me? This is Jack, after all. He's still my friend. At least, I think so. We made it back to my place in what felt like hours.
Oh my.
Once inside, I take Jack to the kitchen where I find an unused first aid kit. When I turn around to face him, I'm almost startled. I'm still not used to seeing this version of Jack. I walk over to him hesitantly with my head down, focusing on the kit in my hands. I can feel his stare burning into me as I tend to the wounds on his forearm. He doesn't even react as I apply the ointment and patches to his burns. I wonder what could have happened.
I'm sorry. It seems this is a lot for you.
That's not important right now. What's important is tending to your wounds. This time, I look Jack in the eye, and I'm caught off guard. He looks relieved.
Even now, you still care for me?
Of course. I'm not going to lie. This is a lot for me to process. I have even more questions than before. But the one thing I'm sure of right now is that my friend is hurt, and I need to help him.
Friends. I'm glad.
I reach up and tend to the cut on Jack's lip. This one causes him to hiss in pain. Hold still, please. So, what happened? Jack?
I cannot tell you.
Why?
This I also won't tell you.
Well, I already know you're my not actually imaginary friend. Literally, what else could shock me more than that?
It's not the shock. Rather, you will worry.
For fluff's sake, I'm already worried.
Please, Flower. I owe you answers, but I ask you to allow me this one secret.
Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
I'm well aware.
But you are still my friend. I should put my trust in you, even if you hid the fact that you're a fairy from me. Fine. I'll leave it be. For now. But like you said, you owe me some answers. I treat his last wound before sitting on the kitchen stool beside his. All right. So, you are my imaginary friend? Well, I guess I shouldn't say imaginary, but you're real.
It is true.
And fairies are actually real? Holy poops! This explains so much about my childhood. My dad's just thought I had a wild imagination and a weird obsession with fairies. But it actually happened. All of it.
I wish I could have shown you the truth sooner.
Oh, why didn't you? Well, I guess you can't really just be like, oh, hello, fairies are real. Editor make put a picture of Crocker in there. I mean, at the time, you were a kid too. It's not your fault my dad's made us move away. Or maybe it was. Does Goose know you are a fairy?
Yes, he does. So, is he also a fairy? He is.
My boss is a fairy.
Oh no. I'm assuming Blaze is too. I'm surrounded by fairies. I don't know how I should feel about this.
I've met him before, haven't I?
His name is Bedwer Gooseberry.
Gooseberry?
Wait, like Mr. Berry? You remember him?
I mean, barely, but I think he helped braid my hair once. Oh yeah, he used to help us collect snowdrops for our flower crowns. Aww.
I was afraid you wouldn't remember most from then. I'm elated to see that is not the fact.
I can't believe he owns the pantry store now. I was lucky to land a job there.
Wait, was I lucky? Was this all a clever ruse? Was this all orchestrated? It would seem so. I had nothing to do with Goose hiring you. He seems to have chosen you on his own accord.
Thank goodness.
It's not some fairy trap they're luring me into.
Why did you wait to tell me?
I worried you wouldn't remember me and would run away in fear upon me revealing myself. I was waiting for the right time. I admit this is much sooner than I expected.
I probably would have been startled, but I wouldn't have run away. Funny enough, ever since I moved back here, I've been having the most vivid dreams of our childhood. It could be a coincidence, but you wouldn't happen to know what could have started these dreams in the first place.
Jack? The cause would be me. I charmed your mind when I met you. Sleeping should be aiding in unlocking some older memories.
Hold on a second here. So, magic is real? Holy double poops! I mean, it makes sense, but wow. But you charmed my mind?
Well, yeah, you're pretty charming, sir.
How can I know that these memories are real and not fake, like implanted or whatever?
I, didn't really think about that. While it is true that I could plant fake memories, it was my goal to only help you remember what you have long since forgotten. However, I also assumed that you have treasures from our time as children as evidence.
Like the drawing. But that could have been planted as well. However, I do remember being obsessed with fairies as a kid. I'll go on a limb here and say you're telling the truth.
I'm most grateful to you for believing me.
Of course, but don't do that again without my permission, you hear? I don't like it when people mess with my head, even if they had good intentions for it.
Absolutely, I hear you.
What were you doing in the woods? Why are you all banged up?
I was watching over you.
You were watching over me? Meaning what? You were following me?
That is an accurate way of describing it.
Okay.
Oh, my intentions weren't meant to cause you harm. I was concerned for your safety.
Safety from what?
Eustis is the home to humans, but just beyond the forest is my home. It's dangerous for humans to be near, especially at night. Banshees roam the night, kelpies lurk in the waters, and I had to make sure nothing happened to you.
I see. I still don't know how I feel about you just following me about.
I can see now that my actions were not the best course to take. For that I owe you my deepest apologies.
How did you know I was back in Eustis?
I had a trusted servant of mine watch over you, and they notified me of your arrival in Eustis.
A servant? Jack, have you had someone following me the past 14 years?
Jack? It's kind of messed up, dude. Living with you is more exact.
Is it Coin?
What do you mean? It was just me and my dad's and...
Coin? My cat is not a cat, is he?
No.
Is he a fairy too?
Yes, he is of the folk. His kind is known as the
Oh, he's a puka!
Oh, he's a puka. Oh, edit me. Put up what a puka is. Show the puka. His kind is known as the puka, mischievous bunch.
My cat is actually a fairy who has been reporting my life to you this whole time?
Now, Jack, I've met some clingy boyfriends in my adventures, but come on now. I never intruded on your personal life. I just had Coin inform me of your safety. I needed to know you were safe while I was in Oigir.
Oigir? Is he the reason I moved back? Like, did he brainwash me, or...?
By the gods, no. After some arrangements, I was planning to set out and find you myself, but then you came back.
So, Coin had nothing to do with me moving back?
As a fairy, I cannot lie to you. I can twist my words, but I mean it when I say Coin had nothing to do with you coming back to Eustis. It was merely a coincidence. Okay. How do I know that lying thing isn't also a lie? Flower?
Does he even love me?
He does love you. Coin loves you.
Oh, I think those are all my questions for now. I have to have a long talk with my cat. Daisy, you're not a fairy too, are you? Why did you go through the trouble of seeing me again?
You were my first and only friend. When you left, I could only think of seeing you again. That was my only wish.
This is a lot.
Are you all right?
I don't know.
Are you angry with me?
More like overwhelmed. It's so much information.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Not at the moment. I just need to process all of this.
Maybe it is best that I leave.
I think so as well.
Espoir, if you are ready to reach out to me.
Ooh. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a round golden sigil with a 4-point star engraved onto it and sets it onto the kitchen table.
Hold this and say my name, and I will be here. But of course, if you wish to never see me again, then so shall it be. You dressed my wounds and cared for me. I've caused you much stress, and I deserve little of the trust you have for me. For that, I am in your debt. Farewell. I hope to see you again.
Oh. And with that, I watch as Jack makes his way out of my apartment, leaving me sitting on the stool, speechless. I pull out my phone, and I'm greeted with a text from B. B, you ain't gonna believe the shoot I just went through.
B, are you a fairy?
Hey, just wanted to let you know that I should be at your place by next Friday around 6 p.m., or maybe 7. We will see. Love you. Exhausted, I let the phone slip lazily out of my hand and onto the counter. I just found out my imaginary friend is real, and a fairy. Fairies are real. And also kelpies, and pukas, and banshees. Holy triple poops. Also, didn't help that I found out said imaginary friend used mind magic on me, followed me, and had my cat, a fairy, watch over me for the last 14 years. Despite his good intentions, saying it so blatantly like that really makes it sound weird. I can't bring myself to become more upset about it, though. All I feel is the heaviness of sleep washing over me. I find myself resting my head on the kitchen counter when I see a familiar shape in my peripheral. Hey, we need to have a little talk, Coin. I know your secret, Coin. Oh. And to be honest, I'm too exhausted to freak out about it. I just wonder if you actually love me like Jack said, or was it all fake, just a mission for you? I watch as Coin gets closer before rubbing his face against my cheek, purring. Okay, I guess that means you actually do like me, huh? At least I've got that going for me. This is going to be a crazy week. Yeah, you're right, it is. I have to worry about Bee coming over, and Jack. What should I do? Should I just cancel with Bee? Ignore Jack and the whole fairy situation? I mean, how can I trust him after all of that? Especially knowing he's actively withholding more information from me. But he did seem to feel bad about it, though, and he went through all that trouble to see me, waited 14 years. Such a long time for just a random friend. Why go through all that effort? Why wait so long to see me? You were my first and only friend. When you left, I could only think of seeing you again. I'm not sure. However, he seems to really care about me. That I'm sure of. I didn't think my night would turn out like this. I thought I would end up with snacks and a TV show, not a headache. Thank you for listening to me, Coin. I guess I'm not that crazy talking to my cat now that I know you can understand me, huh? Right? Let's go to bed. I'm tired. Beautiful. Lovely. Okay, what if we're not so nice to Sweet Jack here? There's 3 endings, and only one of them's good, so all that's left are slightly bad ones. Oh yeah, what happens if I tickle him? Hee. I decided to do the unpredictable. With a smile on my face, I reach over to Jack's armpits and begin to tickle him. For sure this could get him to laugh. Nothing? Really? I was sure that would work. But nothing happens. I see a gleam of amusement in his eyes as he grabs my hands gently, pulling them away and out in front of him. 1, tickling doesn't count. He lets go of my hands before whispering to me, 2, I'm not ticklish. I'm surprised when he starts chuckling to himself. Nevertheless, you did make me laugh. Okay, what if I do the most unflavorful thing and just admit defeat? I'm not even gonna try. Stage fright? Perhaps. I nudge his shoulder playfully with my own as we continue walking. It doesn't take long before my apartment appears in the distance. As we approach the front of the complex, I stop and turn to Jack. Well, I guess this is me. It would seem so. Bid him farewell. Do not invite him in. Good night, Jack. Good night, Flower. He doesn't linger much longer, and instead makes his way down the road. I watch him disappear into the cold of night, a confused smile on my face. Flower? I hear a strange noise in the woods. What if I just leave? Just leave him there. Aww. Now that I know he's in there hurt. Forget it. I didn't want to wait around here any longer, so I made my way home quickly. The mystery in the snow. Okay, what if I do investigate it? I promise I will be fine, Flower. Please believe me. I don't understand. You will in time. Now get yourself home. It's cold out. And leave you? I'm stronger than I look. The whole situation felt bizarre, and I didn't know what to do. He was just so calm about it, so I did the only thing I could think to do and complied with his demand. Was that some mental things you did to me just now? If you say so, make it home safe, all right? As you wish, Flower. I appreciate your concern. I shall see you again soon. And with that, I withdrew from Jack. It felt wrong. He was obviously hiding something, but was refusing to share. I make my leave, despite my body screaming for me to turn back and demand an answer. I make my way back home with nothing but more questions. A mischance. Okay, that's not that bad. Well, that's beautiful. This game is absolutely lovely. Oh my gosh. And this is just the demo, so I will leave a link in the description so that you can follow this game as well and follow the developer when the game updates. I like Jack.
I think Jack is very handsome and lovely.
But I would love to know what you think in the comments, so you could leave a comment down there and I will read it. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.